Hey, welcome back. You are listening to This With Krish Show. I'm your host, Krish Dokia, and this is the show where I like to talk about faith, family, freedom, culture, innovation, and of course, the stories behind the people who are doing incredible things in this world. Okay. Now, today is a really special day for this podcast, for This With Krish Show, because for the very first time ever, I am welcoming an official guest onto the show virtually. And could not think of anyone better to do this first episode 100 with. So today, I am welcomed by someone whose career sits at the crossroads of music, technology, culture, and performance. Ravi Jakhotia, better known to many around the world as DJ Ravi Drums. He's a pioneering musician, an innovator, a performer who has helped redefine really what live DJ performances can even feel like. Now, long before it became a trend across festivals and global stages, Ravi was one of the first artists to combine live drumming with DJ performances, completely revolutionizing and creating a brand new hybrid performance style that has since definitely inspired countless artists across the music industry. Okay. But Ravi, guess what? He didn't stop there. He has also pushed the boundaries of music technology. He invented a transparent touch controller, sort of like a futuristic interface that allows DJs to perform using gesture-based controls, creating a visual experience that feels like something straight out of a science fiction movie. Okay. His career has also broken important cultural barriers. Ravi became the first Indian American musical director on a primetime television show and worked alongside Paula Abdul and Howie Mandel on major network productions across CBS and NBC. Now, beyond television, Ravi has performed on some of the largest and most prestigious stages around the world, including events like the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, Super Bowl pre-game show, just a lot of huge events, bringing his signature fusion of rhythm and energy to global audiences. But what makes Ravi's story even more fascinating is that his journey extends way beyond music. He's deeply connected to conversations around health, wellness, meditation, breath work, and performance longevity, exploring how rhythm, how breath, and movement all connect to the way we live, create, and perform. And today we're going to explore all of it. Okay. The music, the innovation, the technology, the mindset behind it all. Because I think it's important for you guys to hear it directly from my boy, DJ Ravi Drums.
Oh,
All
I'm on
right.
fire.
You
Oh,
okay?
I'm a bad
So,
Indian, man. I'm even drinking milk. I tried to do a hot pepper challenge to myself, and my lips are burning. My
I
eyes
don't
are
know
watering.
anyone else that puts jalapenos and chilies in their water, but I think that's a very California thing, Ravi.
Well, it was meant to be kind of a muddled margarita, but it just turned out to be a spicy mouth blast.
That's funny. All right. So, Ravi, welcome to This With Krish Show. And thank you for being our very first official guest, episode 100. I wanted to
All
reserve
right,
this.
man.
Yeah, we're
That's
changing it
incredible.
up on this show, man. It's been a blessing. I know you've been uh silently cheerleading behind the scenes, and you and I will text every so often and check in on each other. And I've only known you for like what, 2 maybe 3 years, and I
Yeah.
feel like I've known you forever, man. It's like you're my brown brother.
I know. Well, we've been to war together. When you're doing a production like the way we did, like, that's totally going to war. I mean, that took months and, we had a lot of hurdles. But, that's the fun part of this business, right? The entertainment part. Like when you get into some issues that you've got to overcome together as a team and you're forced into a thing and you're like, I got the solution. I got the solution. I got the solution. Okay, great. You do that one. You do that one. You do that one. Go. And then, and then together, the magic of Hollywood at the last second looks brilliant.
Absolutely. For those of you that don't know, Avi and I connected, gosh, I think it was 2023. The company that I formerly worked for, Kind Lending, with Glenn Stearns and Mindy Stearns.
Yeah, we love them.
Yeah, we put on a show out in Costa Mesa, California. That one was awesome. It had John Elway and Manny Koshman and Grant Cardone and Captain Charlie Plum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first time I started working with Ravi on the production side of it a couple of months prior to the event, and the event came together really quickly. I had no idea what I was doing, so Ravi was kind of like, "Hey, let's meet in person before this, and let's walk the
Yeah.
stage and all this stuff,"
What
right?
what do we do with
Um,
this? What's the theme? Do you
yeah.
have walkout music? Do you have a theme
Yeah, it was
song?
it
Is
was
it
it was
this? Is it
kinda
that?
like
What's the demographic? I asked all the
yeah,
questions, and Glenn was like, at that one meeting, he's like, "Now you got me stressed out." I'm like, "No, no, no, don't be stressed. But these are good questions. Let's get the answers. I've done this a billion times, but I just wanna make sure I deliver what it is you need. Thank God
absolutely,
you're here."
absolutely, and then Robbie was so incredible, and, again, if you've never seen him in person and perform in person, it's wild to see his setup, right? And so the very
He's right
next
there.
year yeah, it's right behind you. So the very next year, we did it at the Palms Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas,
How
and
sick was that screen?
the
It's the
Pearl
second
Theater,
largest
right?
screen in,
Yeah.
Vegas. You would know that at the Palms. But what was it, like 4 stories?
It was
It was
4
yeah,
stories high. It was the 2nd largest screen in
next to
Vegas,
the
right?
Sphere. Yeah,
After
the
the
Sphere's the
Sphere.
biggest, this is the 2nd biggest screen.
You kinda walk in behind backstage or whatever, and they've got plaques of all the famous people that have
Oh, yeah.
performed on this, Alicia Keys to, like, just I think I saw Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, this is
Everybody's played there because when the Palms opened,
mhm,
right, it was the hottest property, right? Vegas was old school. And
mhm.
then the Palms came in and it was new and sexy. And then they had the first mega club. And then that
Yep.
was when Paul Oakenfold opened up Rain. Oh my God.
Wow.
Paul Oakenfold opened up Rain and brought EDM. And then it changed the entire landscape because everything was open format and was this and was that. And then that came in and they brought the sex appeal and the fancy restaurants. And that Palms 20 years ago or something, right at the turn of the century. Oh my God, how funny does that sound? Um, at the turn of the century, the Palms, it kind of changed everything, man. And
Yep.
it was the hottest place on the planet.
Here's an interesting fact, and I think you already know this, but the penthouse at the Palms is
Yeah.
where they filmed The Real World, right? Very first season of Real World.
Yeah.
Um,
Or no, no, no. What wasn't the first season, but it was one of them.
one of the
Like what
seasons.
one of the
Okay.
big ones. And
Okay.
then they had the Playboy Hugh Hefner suite and he
Yep.
had a Playboy lounge and then George Maloof had like the whole top of the other building, which I was friends with the oh no, Phil Maloof bought it. George
Yep.
Maloof, the Maloof brothers owned it. So I was friends with Phil and my old agent Zach was best friends with Phil. So we go up to parties. I'd play at Phil's parties all the time in the hills here in LA. And then when he had that, he took the whole top floor and it was just amazing. It was like 11,000 square feet or 16,000 square feet or something. It was just ridiculous.
It's awesome. And one of the other connections was, so Glenn Stearns,
Yeah.
he met his wife at the blackjack table at the Palms, and that's one of the reasons why he wanted to have that event there. Did you know that?
I thought they met on Oprah.
Mm-mm. They met at the blackjack table at the Palms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I,
I can appreciate the nostalgia and the commitment to making those connections, and he does
yeah.
that a lot. When he had, because I worked for his previous company, Stearns Lending, and when he started Kind Lending, and when they had their first President's Club trip, he actually, I forget the name of the hotel or the resort in Honolulu, but he did the very first President's Club at that same hotel that he did the very first President's Club for Stearns Lending. So that was really cool. So he always makes those connections over time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
Clint is just the greatest, man.
Very cool. Very cool.
What a cool guy. What a great human being. I mean, they've hooked me up.
Yeah.
Like God, I'll never forget. It was 10:22 a.m. on a Sunday. And bam, my phone rings and it's Glenn Stearns. I'm sitting there with my father-in-law. My father-in-law is in real estate and finance and all that. I'm like, I look at him. I'm like, yo, Glenn Stearns called me. So I walk outside. I'm like, Glenn, what can I do for you? I was like, how fast can I say yes to whatever this is? And let's get it. And he's like, it was the best story. And he's like, Ravi, you know, have you heard of this Monte Carlo Grand Prix? I'm like, yes, I've always wanted to go and perform there. I was supposed to perform there a couple times, just kind of never worked out. He goes, yeah, well, I'm going there next week and we're doing this event for the prince and princess on the boat. And I asked my captain, well, what's going on with this Grand Prix? What is it? And he goes, and the captain was like, it's the biggest party in the world. He goes, what do you mean? Because every billionaire, every king, every prince, every oil baron, all the Saudis from past emperors from wherever, everyone's there. And he's like, really? He goes, yeah, it's the biggest party. He goes, well, what do we have scheduled? The guy's like, nothing, mate. We just booked it. What do you want? And he's like, well, what do we need to do? Because you need to have the biggest party of the year. And he goes, hold on, I know who to call. And then he called me because I saw him. I was doing a presidential event at the Lincoln Memorial, and he's Ravi can handle this. And he goes, and so I'm like, I did a gig in Orlando the week before. So my entire crazy drum rig was in Orlando because I thought I was going to do something for Fleet Week that week for the Good Morning America to Today Show or something like that. And all that was in talks and nothing got committed. Like, okay, book this. But so I left my rig there because I'm like, yo, why would I ship it all the way back to LA, then all the way back there? That's double shipping. If they don't do it, I could just ship it one way and then that's fine. And then so Glenn was like, I was like, well, Glenn, hold on, this is pretty short notice. I said, but I got a smaller rig and it'll be a lot cheaper and we could do this. And he goes, well, Ravi. No, what did he say? He was just kind of tired. He had that swag. He's like, well, Ravi, it's going to be a lot of big swinging dicks at this thing. And I was like, okay, so we swing the harness. He goes, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, he sounded like a cowboy to me. Glenn never sounds like a cowboy like that, but he did that day. I just heard. I'm like, damn, Josie Wales called me to go to Monte Carlo. I said, well, then this is what I got to do. I said, I got to get my tech here overnight, and then we need to fly to Orlando, and then I can have my gear brought to me at the airport there. No, I called my shipping company. And I was like, hey, can you get you guys? You're almost there. You're in Orlando. Just got to go over the water and drop it off in France. He goes, well, because the Patriot, and it was on a Sunday. I'm like, I call them 911. Let me see what I can do. Because somebody like Glenn, you gotta. If you say something, you have to do it 1,000,000,000% because he's the man of the highest level of integrity, and you know what I mean. You can't half step anything with a guy like that, right? And you wouldn't want to anyway, but like especially the pressure was on. I was Sunday, I'm like, let me call these guys. I'm hammering the phones, and my guy was out like hunting in the desert in Arizona or something. I'm like, yo, I need this. He's like, I go, you gotta stop, put the gun down. I was like, okay. And he's calling and he's calling and he's calling me back. I'm like, Glenn, I'm working it out. They're gonna call me. I'll tell you. Let me do that. Okay, I'll hook you up with my assistant. I might have a friend coming over in his plane. Maybe you could just get the stuff on there. But we're trying to figure out every option available and how much do they weigh and what are the dimensions. I'm like, I just happen to have the exact weight and dimensions because my shipping guy's right there. So he sends that, and then we're going through everything, and then he says, look, for us to get it there and clear customs after Patriot Act, it won't get there till Thursday, but they close the streets off on Thursday in all Monte Carlo, so we can't get it across the street. And getting in and all this other stuff, it's going to be a headache and it's going to cost $1 trillion. And I mean, if he wants to send a private jet just for the gear, we can do that, but nobody can ride on it. I'm like, yeah, this is getting out of control. I'm like, Glenn, we could do this other thing. I said, or I could fly overnight. We could get a red eye. They could bring me the drums. I said, I have to leave security, go to the other side. We check in 26 bags or 24, something like that, with Trevor. And then we need to fly out and then we can make it there, but I could get there with the gear like that. So we had 4 stops. We had to go I think American was the only overnight to get to Orlando. We get there and then we go there and like literally it's in the video. So you gotta, it's the greatest story ever. And Glenn tells it so good. He's the greatest storyteller too. And just the coolest, greatest guy ever you ever meet. And so we go there, they bring the 24 pieces or 26 pieces, whatever it was, and they're to the airport in Orlando. We check them all in. We got to go from Orlando. This is after flying LAX to, and they were like, just get to the airport. Your tickets will be there. Just trust me. I'm like, okay. And so we get there, bam, the tickets are there, obviously, of course. And then we go from Orlando to Detroit to London Heathrow to Nice. Then at Nice, we go there and we got 2 vans and like we're exhausted
You
after all the
you guys took the whole thing apart, right? Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah,
you had
yeah,
to
yeah.
do it,
You know,
yeah.
you have to, yeah, they got to be in like, there's certain measurements for the bags and this and weights and all that. We got it down. So we go there and then we go to Nice,
Mhm.
the city next to it. And he has his dinghy there. He's like, we'll load it onto the dinghy. I'm like, man, but then, like, we got to bring it all the way up. He goes, I got people and we got cranes. I'm like, man, what kind of boat you got, son?
The Minderella, right?
The
Wasn't that the name of
Mandel, yeah, I
the
didn't fit on
yacht?
it. I hadn't even seen it. And I kept saying, like, what are we doing there? And then he goes, I go, man, it'd be really cool because he has a helipad on the
Mhm.
top of the thing. I'm like, why don't you move the helicopter and I play up there? That'll be really sick. He goes, well, I got it worked out. So everybody else there has to remove their helicopters off their boats, but I don't. And I'm like, punk rock. I'm
That's
like,
all.
why don't I just do whatever you tell me to do and I can stop with the suggestions?
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that story. I've heard it. This is the first time I'm hearing it from you. I've heard Glenn's version as well. It's an
His
incredible,
better. His version's way better. His
but you know
version is
that's
way better.
for the listeners that are watching and listening, essentially he's traveling the world fighting cancer on his yacht, spending time with his family, right?
Yeah.
And he pulls up to Monte Carlo, and it's like essentially, you park your boat, right? And he didn't realize that the one that he was going to get to park at until like a week prior, when they're making arrangements, was the best, like the ultimate best VIP table, essentially, of
Oh yeah.
parking spots for yachts, and that's the one that the prince and princess are going to
Kennedy
party on.
Key 1.
Yeah.
If you don't know, now you know, dude. I mean, they're like, that's it. Like, so if you imagine the best table at any restaurant, and then you imagine the best table at the best nightclub, well, imagine the best yacht slip at the
Uh,
best, most important yachting event ever,
how
at the most
how long has the
expensive one.
Grand Prix been going on? Maybe 80 years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So Kennedy
you
Key
would think
1
that
is,
only 80 people have ever parked there
oh,
during Monte Carlo,
wow.
out of billions of people in the world, right? So I mean, it is that exclusive. And
Yeah.
I did an episode a couple of weeks ago, I think, about experiences, right? Like luxury goods versus shared experiences. And you've been following my vacation stories over spring break and on Instagram, and it's all about experiences, right? And I
That's
think
it.
that what you do, and I watch a lot of your TikToks and your reels on Instagram. If you're not following Ravi, it will be in the description of this episode. But it's all about experiences, and so I kind of want to get into some questions. One more thing I do want to talk about, and we'll save that for a little bit later. But I don't know if you know this, Ravi, but I used to have a nickname when I was in college, and in high school and college, called DJ Krish. 'Cause I
DJ
think that,
Chris.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know that.
exactly, and then I used to think I was a DJ, and I realized that it was hard. I couldn't play instruments, so I could never play a drum, so I figured I'll play other people's music, and I started out on vinyls, if the old school techniques,
Back in the day.
MP2s, MP3s, and I played some nightclubs, and I did some things, and then I started doing Indian weddings, okay, and,
That'll make you wanna quit DJing.
yeah, well, no, but the pay, I mean, his pay is amazing, except it's like 3 or 4 days worth of music, right?
Yeah.
And,
No, 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 but Indian weddings back then in America were one thing. Like, you go to an Indian wedding in India now with a billionaire,
oh,
and
no,
it's
it's
just like,
nuts.
no, no, that it's absolutely insane. My
Insane,
friends,
insane.
Wizcraft, they just had Tiesto, Black Coffee, Jennifer Lopez, and Cirque du Soleil at a
And
wedding.
you?
No,
Didn't you
I didn't do
put
that one, but I
oh,
didn't
you
do
didn't
that
do that
one,
one?
but my
Yeah, it's,
friends at Wizcraft, Andre,
I used to call
Tor
my DJ company Krish Style, right?
oh,
Like
nice.
Cristal is pronounced Cristal, like the Cristal, right? Back in the
Oh, yeah.
day. But I was
Are
terrible at it.
crystal. What is a
Yeah.
crystal?
But, a lot of Indian guys our age, right? Like they were out going out, "Oh, I'm a DJ," it was a cool thing, but you actually did something with it, which is awesome. Um, but I have a question for you. What first drew you into music, right? When did you realize that the rhythm and percussion, were going to be a big part of your life?
You know what? The story is, no, I remember it. I was 3.5 years old, and my parents would go to Kmart, right?
Wow.
In upper state New York, where we lived there. And my mom would just park me in front of the drum sets. There was 2 drum sets. There was a blue sparkle first, what was it? First something. And then there was a s- sterling steel or something like that. And there was this little chrome steel one, right? And there was
Mhm.
2 of them. And I would just sit there and I would just stare at them in awe. And I was beating on everything and I was so hyper. Still am hyper at 1,000 years old. Like I'll probably like when I die, I'll be beating on my coffin and stuff. Whatever, when they burn me in the fire and take my ashes to every good beach around the world and drop them. But so it was that, and I remember, like, I was that kid that they would have to pull me off sideways, my mom over the shoulder, and I'd be knocking everything down, and she'd be spanking me, and I'd be crying. I need it. I need it. You don't need it. You don't need anything. You need to go to college. You know,
That's
you can be
awesome.
any kind of doctor you want, but so you be any doctor, just don't be a butt doctor, okay? You can even do engineer.
That's awesome.
Like mom, but those poor parents, man. When I grew up, I was into metal. So all of my first bands, because that was when Blizzard of Oz came out. So every guitar player wanted to be Randy Rhoads
Mhm.
or Black Sabbath. So we would play Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne in my garage. Every metal track, Ronnie James Dio.
You just formed your own little band, or
God, yeah.
yeah?
Dude. Oh yeah. Dude, I raised the fist of the metal child and cried tears of steel. Yeah.
That's so late 70s and 80s, man. That's what you did, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no. When I was 22, I was on the cover of Metal Hammer magazine, all kinds of metal magazines. Like, there's a poster at my parents' house where we were on the cover of Metal Hammer, and Metallica and Guns N' Roses were like underneath us on this one issue.
That's
Like,
awesome. No,
yeah, we
that's
were
cool.
very like Queensryche, prog rocky. This metal band called Crimson Glory. We were on Atlantic.
So were you playing drums back then as well, or were you
Oh
playing
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
instrument?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was like a full-blown crazy prog rock metal drummer, technical, like crazy.
That's freaking cool, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so speaking of Indian, like Indian people aren't typically geared towards creative arts, right? Or fine arts or any of those
They
types of
weren't
things,
then. I think
right?
there's a lot now. I
There's a
just
lot
did
more now for sure, and I started out doing graffiti art, and I've always had my finger and hand in something else, but my parents like, "You need to be an accountant," and I'm like, I last thing I wanna do is sit at a desk, and now that's what I do as an adult, but now I have these creative outlets, which is fun as well.
Well, you do like 10 jobs, man. You're like
I
almost Jamaican. You're
I
like, oh
almost
yeah, and I got
Jamaican.
this business, and my wife does this business, and we got this, and we got that, and then I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, I
God,
mean,
I
we just
every time
published
I
a book last week, right? So, I
E
mean,
every time I hear from you, I'm like, God, I feel so lazy. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I do 146 pickups and drop offs. I play all over the world. I do all this, and then I talk to you. I'm like, I need to try harder.
no, it's fun though. Life is too short not to try, right? And I think
Yeah,
that's something. But speaking of the Indian culture, Indian heritage, I find it super cool because I've watched this movie multiple times and it's one of my favorites, right? Who
yeah.
Wants to Be a Millionaire? Al Kapoor. So
He's so cool.
you performed at the Oscars, and
Yeah,
tell us a little
yeah.
bit about that.
That was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. My friend John Robert Woods, um, incredible musician, composer. I used to do a lot of commercials, and he worked at this company, Agent Jackson, and they did a lot of commercials. I did commercials for Jeep and Microsoft, and I mean J.C. Penney's, and you name it. Like a lot of car commercials. The Jeep would be bursting through the snow, and industrial grade. you know, Will Arnett. No, but so John called me because he was helping to arrange it for a giant composer, and it was a medley. It was a medley, so it was a song from Peter Gabriel from the movie Up, and 2 songs from Slumdog Millionaire. And
Mhm,
because they wanted to edit it all into a medley, Peter Gabriel said, "No, I'm going to do the whole song or not." So then they got John Legend to do the short bit. But
mhm.
it was unbelievable because there is nothing on the planet like the Oscars. Like I've done the Super Bowl and Oprah and all kinds of everything, right? But the Oscars are a whole different thing. Like everybody's back straightened out and everybody's just on point and dialed
Mhm.
in and looks like $1,000,000. And it is the most important night. And I'll tell you what, man, I got in tears on the side of the stage. I'm on the side of the stage getting ready to go on. They plant you there like 15 minutes before. So, you're whatever. Cause it was a big production. Must have been 40, 60 people. I don't even know how many people were in the actual show, but it was a lot. And
Mhm.
dancers, and it was big giant Bollywood number and the whole thing. And I'm out there and I'm looking through and I'm on stage left and I'm looking through and I could see Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie right there. And
Oh,
Meryl Streep's in the front row, Steven Spielberg's over here. And because I'm me, so Fatima was like, Ravi, you're gonna come out when we take the drums and you march out. You're marching out first and you bring in the
mhm.
energy and you park right here in front of Mr. Spielberg and then you play. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, hell yeah. And Spielberg's like rocking out to the thing, and Meryl Streep is like sitting there like this, like this, like the queen. She's Meryl Streeping. And I'm like literally like right here, and I'm looking right down at her. And I'm looking at her right in the eyes, right? Because like my guy had taught me like finishing school from like the Bronx, Gumby Ortiz, like he would play and he would look you right in the eye, and then he shred. He was like directly for you, and then he'd shred and was directly and he would connect with everybody, unlike anybody. Bam! And he was so I'm looking her dead in the eyes. I'm like, when else am I gonna, dude, Meryl Streep. I've been in LA for 10 years or something like that at this point, or even longer, maybe 13 years. And I'm like, you will look at me, and I'm playing, and she's like, Meryl Streeping, looking like just like totally like that, both hands on the left knee. Then she's looking right above me. Finally, she gazes down. Oh, just me and keeps looking up. I'm like, okay, next.
He was proper.
Dude, she was so proper. I'm like, but you will notice me. She's probably
Yeah.
that man was so annoying. I can only imagine. But Spielberg was rocking out, and I caught eyes with Peter Gabriel, and he nodded, and I was like, wow, I could die and go to musical heaven. That was amazing.
That's incredible. I mean, when I first spoke with you about doing this episode, and I was like, "Hey, can you send me some bullet points?" Right? And you're like, "Okay, I've done this, I've done this," and every time I speak to you, every time I kind of peruse on your Instagram or see a new, because I think you just did another podcast
Yeah,
that came out today on the day that we're recording this
yeah.
on Monday, March 23rd. And I learn something new about you every day, right? Every time I speak to you, every time I see something about you, it's like, and you know what, you're excited. You like to talk about the things that you've done, but you're also a very humble human being, and I have to give you that. Because you don't just go around and say, "Hey, I'm DJ Ravi Drums, respect me. Look at all the things that I've done in my life." Life is short, and again, like we talked about, we got to try the things that we want to do and meet the people that we want to meet. And I saw an episode, not episode, a reel that you did here recently, and you said something like, "Hey, I do 1,100 and whatever things a day," and you got to keep chasing, and you got to
Yeah.
keep believing in yourself, and things happen, and you got a call, and I'm really excited to hear about what that call was when when you're ready to share that. But
Yeah, I'll tell you
um,
after we're done. It was a
yeah,
good
yeah.
call.
But
So I got an email today, and then we have the
you
second
got the
layer to the
follow-up
call.
email to the phone call?
I got a follow-up email to the call, then we scheduled a Zoom for tomorrow at 1.
It's awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah, me too, dude. I've been chasing this one thing down a long time. Must be 6 months, 8 months. I mean, a long time. I'm like, how do I not know who's doing this, right? Like, I know the guy that produces the Oscars. Like, I know
Yeah.
a couple people, right? I can kind of figure out who's doing the thing and like try to figure out how to get in touch with them, and we couldn't figure it out who was doing the thing that we're trying to get. And then finally it broke through, and then like there was a PR release, and I called the publicist. I'm like, yo, and I sent him, and it turned out like it was his real number and it was a cell phone. So I'm like, yo, I need to be on this.
Mhm.
And yeah, man,
Well,
in life,
I was so my son loves John Cena. Like
yes.
he's like the biggest
Go
John Cena
Trino!
fan. And I have no idea how he knows about John Cena. I can only imagine that he watched something on YouTube Kids, right? But I saw an interview with John Cena, and he carries 2 watches. Did you know this? Like, I don't know if you've seen this, video
I
where he
think I've heard
watches
about
his
this.
he wears his wristwatch, and then he wears a pocket watch, and he goes, "This one is for telling time, and this one is about perspective." Right? And on the back, I forget what the other engraving was, but on the back of it, there's an engraving that says something to the effect of, "You are enough." Like, "You are enough," right? He's like, "When I'm nervous," he goes, "I'm John Cena, and I still get nervous on interviews or whatever." He goes, "I read this to myself to let myself know that I'm worth it," right? And I can believe in myself, and I can do it. And I think that we all try to say those things to ourselves, whether out loud or silently. My son, I have him, uh say something to himself in his head before bed, right? Because he
Yeah.
has dyslexia, and he's really, beats himself up because of his reading skills and stuff like that. And he just like, he tells himself, it's like, "Hey man, whatever I've got coming." Right. And
Oh,
it will come.
nice.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So one of the bullet points, right, on your bio that I
Wait, hold on, hold
didn't.
on, hold
Go
on.
ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Isn't that the best thing though? When you
Oh,
can
absolutely.
instill like the best parts of the things you've learned in them. Like I remember so many times, like I would just tell my son, like we're going to a game and we're rushing and we're late and you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, hold on. Me speeding, doing 90 miles, go, well, you should have got that water together. But I'm like, that's not helping this moment. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I'm the dad. So I'm like, okay, so after a couple minutes, I take a breath. I'm like, yo, so just imagine, just close your eyes, slow it down, exhale 3 times. Now imagine what it
Hmm.
feels like after you kick the goal. So your right foot, like your skin hits it and you get it in and bam, you feel it. Feel that energy. And you know what? Like I've been following Joe Dispenza a lot
Hmm.
lately. God, what a G. Man, that Tetragrammaton with Rick Rubin and him, when they
Hmm.
start talking about it and talks about future remembrance, you got to put yourself into the future and feel it because your brain psychologically wants that. Once it gets that feeling, it doesn't know the difference that it happened or it didn't happen. And then they came to the conclusion that it's about the feeling. It's not about the thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, I want that glass of milk. No. It's about the feeling of the glass of milk, the way the water makes you, the cold glass of milk made you feel like it takes you back to when you're 4 years old and you just got a cookie and it's the end of the night and you're washing it down.
It's the
That's the
experience, like I said earlier, right? It's all about the experience, and
yeah,
I'm glad we pivoted here because I've met your son, one
yeah,
of your sons, right?
yes.
And my son's 7, your son is 19, oldest one,
He was 19 then. He's 21 now.
he's 21 now. Okay, he's getting
Yeah, so
older.
that was great. And at your event, I
Yeah.
had him help and host, and he got to be around Cardone, Elway,
Oh, that was
Stearns.
the first time I met him. I met him a
Yeah.
second time. If you recall, he came into the office one time and he shadowed me for it.
Yes. You mentored him for a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and what was cool about that is our children, right, are carbon copies of us, right? Of how we feel, how we act, how we react to things. And I've got to say, and I think the world of my son, and he's very respectful and he's a kind young man and into sports or what have you. But I will say this about your son. What a wonderful dude, right? Like
yeah.
I couldn't call him a kid because he's not a kid anymore. He's a man, he's 21
He's a
years
kid to
old.
us, though.
Yeah, but he's awesome. He's
Yeah,
he's
he
he's
is.
so
He's
polite and well-mannered, and you're not. I was kidding.
I mean,
But
look what
you've done
happened.
well.
I
You've
could have
done
been
well.
a doctor.
He
Any
he,
doctor.
uh, he's an MMA amateur
Yeah,
MMA fighter,
yeah.
amongst many other things. He's a young entrepreneur. I mean, he's just such a cool dude, and, so well done.
Yeah, you know
Well
what? We're
done.
trying. I mean, you know what is so crazy? Your kids, when they're out in public and they go to that, they're so great. And then when they're home, I'm just bitching at them to take the trash out and do the dishes till I'm losing my mind. You know what I mean? So like you forget that. Like they are great. Because when they go out there, they are really a representation.
Absolutely.
Here's a great soundbite. So you know how you measure a man's wealth? You know how you
How's that?
truly measure a man's wealth? All right, let me set this up. You know how you truly measure a man's wealth?
I have no idea.
By his children.
By his children. There you
That's
go.
it.
I kinda knew that, but
That's it. That's it. There is no other measure. There is no other unit. Like you can be broke, but if you raise great kids, then you're rich, right?
absolutely,
Like you could
absolutely.
live in a hut, but if your kids carry themselves with integrity and honor, they learned it from you. They're like, yo. That's a G right there. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like that might be in the Bhagavad Gita somewhere. No,
Measure of
no,
advice, children. Don't do idiot. You don't need
yeah,
the
don't
gold.
do it here. Well, look, one of the bullet points and questions I really have for you, because I geek out on technology. I love technology. I love
Yeah.
things that, you know, in the spirit of creating, right? You were also involved in pushing a lot of boundaries in life, right?
Yeah.
In your specific industry, in the music industry. And so music technology, right? You created some transparent touch controller
Like
that
right there. So it
yeah,
doesn't
I've
look as
seen it. It's
sexy.
super cool. It is
It doesn't look
amazing.
as sexy without it on. But
But
yeah, it's a
you
transparent touch control.
no, did you patent that? Like, what
So
goes into that?
So I became the musical director for Paula Abdul on her show on CBS.
Mhm.
And then I was on a flight to Brazil and I saw Minority Report and I called her. I'm like, man, we need to do this. We have the technical guy, the creative director from Pink Floyd. Now, Pink
Mhm.
Floyd changed the way
I went to the Wall
performance.
concert in 1998 or 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody on the planet could touch them with the theatrics and the storytelling and
Mhm.
and just the props and what they did. And it was so dramatic and incredible. I'm like, my God, we have the guy from Pink Floyd. That means we can do anything because this guy is hands down the number one greatest creative director in the history of music. Right? There's a lot of great ones now, but he invented it all in the 70s. Like, you know what I mean? Like before Bowie did Spider from Mars and all that stuff, it was Pink Floyd, you know,
Mhm.
with the flying pigs and this and
Yep.
building the wall and
The
all the
lasers coming out of the eyes and yeah.
all of all of it. So we had him and Mark Felix, I think. No, it wasn't Mark. Oh, I forgot his last. I can't remember right now from Laser Farm, but he was the baddest. Anyway, I tell her I got an idea. We should like create a fake screen. We could do projections onto it. We could do some things because we're going to make a side stage for me and have this crazy pod. And Paula had all these incredible ideas. She's like so creative and so just like, bam, like, you know, go for it. And, you know, after she toured with the Jacksons and everything else, she's like, yeah, well, you know, we could do everything. I mean, the hell, the guy I choreographed flew out of the Super Bowl in a jetpack. So what do you want to do? You know, that's what she's used to. And so she was like, she calls me, like I had a layover or something, and then I land in Brazil, and I'm there, and I'm about to go to the beach, and I get all these texts from her, like, call me, call me, call me. I'm like, man, it's like $8. I don't think I even had a cell phone or something. I was like, it's $8 yeah, it was $8 a minute to call through T-Mobile or something. I didn't have an international plan then or whatever. And she's like, just I'll pay for it. I'm like, it's gonna be $50, man. Don't worry about it. She said, no, call me right now. I'll pay for it. Oh. I'm like, okay. So I was being cheap Indian. And she's like, they love it. I'm like, who loves what? I was with the president of CBS last night for 3 hours, 2.5 hours in his office. And we went over everything. I told him about the screen you created and stuff. I go, screen? No, I didn't create anything. It was an idea. I said, Mark should. He's a guy from Pink Floyd. She goes, what? No, you told me you had it made. I'm like, I did not say it. Yes, you did. Well, I told him you made it. So now you better get it done or you're going to get fired from the best gig. And everybody in town wants it. She just left Idol. It was, you know, bigger than God. This is the big show, primetime TV, 8 p.m. on Thursday or something like that. It was insane, right? And I'm like, oh, I just wanted to go to the beach and look at beautiful Brazilian women and drink a beer. Damn. And then, so I had to lie it into reality. It's a crazy story and spans the earth, and it all came together, and then it crumbled apart, and then it had to put it all back together again, and it, you know, it was insane.
It's insane.
That's its own episode, baby.
And I don't know how you fit it all in, right? Because I mean, you do a lot of
Yeah.
shows. I mean, how many shows or how many events do you participate in or do or
You know what?
produce? Or
When the kids were younger, it was like sometimes it'd be 3 or 4 states a week, right?
wow,
But that was smaller. Now that it's this big thing,
yeah,
yeah, I do these larger, bigger corporate events, a lot of stadiums, a lot of bigger shows. So those are much less because
yeah,
they, you know, the scale of them is so much bigger. The
uh-huh,
rehearsals, the setup, tech, all of
sure.
that is a giant production. And I have a couple of these. So if we got to A/B them, like we can do, you know, 2 cities in 2 days if we have to.
Because the setup is intense,
Oh
right?
yeah,
In
yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
cases, I mean,
But
you have
we got
big
it down.
rigs.
But yeah, no, I mean it's crazy. I mean, look at that thing. It's
When you have to call your setup a rig,
yeah, I call it the Star
you
Destroyer.
know,
That's the Star Destroyer.
you see the this Tesla Cybertruck sometimes pulling
Yeah,
a big old trailer, and
yeah.
I've seen it all. It's
Yes.
awesome. Um,
Yeah.
But something else, right? So you're not just a DJ, you're not just a dad and a husband and a son and all of these things. You are, we talked about caring for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I think that so for those of you that are listening, we tried to record this a week ago and we had some technical issues or whatever, but he was like, "Oh man, like can we do it this time so I can fit in my yoga?" Right? You said that, and I was like, "That's
I know.
awesome."
So is this crazy? So that call that I have tomorrow,
Uh-huh.
that I've spent 8 months chasing down and stressed out and was like, "How is this gonna happen? I'm not gonna be a part of it. I can't accept that." But so stressed out. And then they hit us back, and I didn't see the email because, dude, my emails are so spammed. Like, I didn't see my agent hit me back like, "Yo, what time do you wanna do the call?" They have any time after, 10:15. I'm like, "Oh, we should do it at 10:30." I'm like, "Well, hold on, man. I got my yoga at 10:30. Can we do 1?" But if we can, and we need I can miss the yoga. If I can go
Yeah,
after
yeah,
my
but you know
yoga.
what? You have to like I try to hit the gym every day, right? My
You
wife
know
and I
what?
try to hit our 10,000 steps a day. We're going to Hawaii this summer. My son's playing golf out there, and we're like, oh, we got to have six packs, for the
Yeah.
beach and
Yeah, you
and
do.
whatever it takes. But you don't sacrifice your health, right? And I think that
No.
Indian people generally are prone to heart disease and
Oh,
and
yeah.
things like that, right? And it's the just because we're a lot of them are vegetarian doesn't
No,
mean
but
that
but
they're
we
healthy.
have a different type of cholesterol, and we have smaller hearts
Yeah.
than a Caucasian. Like, I didn't know this. My dad, when he had his first heart attack, that's what I was like, "What? I didn't even know that." Yeah, we have different things. So, yeah, that's my hyperbaric right there too.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of therapy in the music that you do, and I've seen
Yeah.
some of the music that you've done, that's around, centered around breathing and, meditation, breath work, right? And I think
Yeah,
that the
we did a
vernacular is breath work.
Yeah, so we put together this beautiful tantric record. It's very cinematic and it's beautiful. And we got some of the
Mhm.
biggest people on the planet. We got Saida Garrett, who wrote Man in the Mirror for Michael Jackson,
Yep.
two-time Oscar nominee. Got Brian Kennedy from Rihanna, 4 Grammys and 25 million records or 20 million records. I mean, a lot.
Yep.
Plaques from floor to ceiling. And Peter DiStefano from Pouring Up the Pyros, and Steve from Toto. I mean, we got all kinds of cats on this record. And Mark Needham mixed it. Geez, Mark Needham mixed Fleetwood Mac, Imagine Dragons, The Killers. He has like nobody sells 10 million records anymore, and he's got 2 double diamonds like in his hallway. That's 20 million hard copies each. I'm
Wow.
just like nobody on the planet has that anymore, but he
And
does.
that's a
So
project you guys worked on for several years,
2
right?
years, 2 years we've been working on it, and it's so good, but, it's like we're self-funded, so it just takes what it takes, and we're chasing all these people down, you know, and sometimes it could take 6 months to get a vocal from somebody, and, it takes what it takes when you don't have any money, you know?
Yeah, yeah, but no, it's the drive, it's the motivation, it's the passion behind it, and
Yeah.
knowing, I feel like you and I had a conversation recently around breath work, and not anything in detail, but you're like, hey, this is why I do it, right? Like it helps, right?
Yeah.
It's good for you. I my sister does yoga, right? She actually is running two things in Mexico this summer, like retreats or
Oh,
whatever they're
retreats,
called. And
nice.
yeah. And so she's been really into it and she's like all into nutrition, but it's all, like when people say, "Hey, how are you getting healthy?" or "How'd you lose weight?" Some people, there's only two answers typically, right? It's like, or now it's three. It's either you worked out or you ate right, or now it's GLP-1.
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, or
Um,
it's a combination of all 3.
right.
But
But
generally, it has to be a combination of the first 2 for any long sustained
But
kind of
but but I would imagine the meditation and the breath work and the yoga ought to be part of it as well,
You know
right?
what? The
And
yoga I do is intense, man. It's brutal. It's
it's like hot
totally pain.
yoga, not hot yoga, but there's
Hot
all
yoga.
these, what's it
No,
called?
it's hot yoga. I do
It is
hot
hot yoga.
yoga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
It's
In one hot yoga, you could lose 2 to 4 pounds. Like,
mhm.
you wanna get shredded before
It's like
Hawaii?
900 calories a sitting or something, right? You
Oh
just sweat
god,
it
yeah,
off. Yeah.
but you stretch it all out, and then
Mhm.
it's good for your head. And this
Yep.
is the thing, right? Like, today I was a little bit off all day, right? Now all the coffees in the world wouldn't get it. And then I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm getting a workout in the afternoon," because I was like, "Oh, I'll go to yoga tonight." I'm like, I didn't have time for yoga because it just there wasn't time for it today. It's
Mhm.
20 minutes drive there, an hour. So I have an E-stim suit, resistance training because then it doesn't hurt my wrists after
Yeah.
decades of smashing. You know what I mean? Like putting heavy weight on it is hard.
Get
So this
ready to have carpal tunnel.
yeah, no, when I was playing metal, dude, I had it was terrible. So anyway, I have this e-suit, and then me and my son walk the dog, and like you could get like this crazy workout just while you're walking the dog. You're like,
Uh-huh.
you're zapping. You look like, I mean, it must have been wonderful in my neighborhood in Orange County. Here's this brown guy with this thing that looks like a bomb suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't go around, I'm sure we'll get flagged on YouTube or something for talking about it, but side story, right?
Oh yeah.
When I was, I don't know, 25, I used to always have really bad stomach aches, like really bad stomach aches, to the point where like I would have to crawl into a fetal position, right? I'd have to pull over on the side of the road and just like crawl and cry like a baby, right? And so I finally, I was
Really?
stubborn. Yeah. So I was stubborn, and finally my girlfriend at the time took me to the doctor, and doctor made a recommendation to go see a gastrologist, right? And so I go, and they're like, all right, we're gonna, pure American medicine. They're like, all right, you're gonna run all these tests. And I had um, a colonoscopy, but then I had an upper endoscopy. Now the upper endoscopy back then, right? This is in
They're going
2000.
down the throat, right?
Yeah, you have to swallow these pills. And again, this is 2005, so it's still pretty fresh after 9/11, bro. Like they had me put this thing on, right? Like it looked like a weighted vest with wires sticking out of it because it's all over your body. Like you got these little like EKG type of style. And then the nurse told me, is like, okay, well, we're gonna let it take pictures because the cameras are in there and the sensors or whatever, and you can leave. She said, you can leave for like 4 or 5 hours and you can come back and we'll take it off of you. And I'm like, listen, lady, like, I'm not going anywhere strapped with like wires hanging off of me. I was like, where do you want me to go?
In
Like,
Texas.
no, this is back in Georgia, but like,
Oh
she's
my
like,
God, same
you want
difference.
to go to the mall or something? I was like, I don't want to leave. I'm just going to sit right here in the waiting room. I can't go out in public. Have you met? And I had a goatee, like a beard at the time. And I was like,
Oh my
nah,
God.
dude, like two things I don't do: run in airports and do that.
Oh yeah. No, I have such insane airport etiquette. My God, when my kids even they joke around, I'm like, no, no, there
Nope,
is
don't do
no.
it.
I was in Boston
Mhm.
right after 9/11, and we're
Okay.
in line, band, right, full band, and guitars, and there's like 5 of us, and these dudes were a little bit drunk, and they were joking about bombs or something. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I mean, literally right behind me, like if I wouldn't have moved or like, I could have got tackled and mixed up in the thing. Bam! Because one of the planes was from Boston, right?
Mhm.
They wanted them full. Brought these dudes to the ground,
Oh
and
my.
man, I mean, literally right behind us. We're like, "Oh shit!" We're like, "Okay, don't even look. Just keep going. Get through security." The tour manager was like, "Just keep going. Don't get involved in whatever's happening there." And they were like, "I was like, we're just joking." They're like, "Not here, dude." Bam! They 4 dudes smashed them down, and they were gone. And I mean, like, I was
Those
just like,
those are crazy times. I don't know if you've watched the episode about 9/11 that I did, but and this isn't like bragging rights of famous people that you've met. I met Mohammed Atif and one of the other guys, terrorists on the planes.
"What?
Yeah, so they used to hang out at the Starbucks that I used to hang out at.
What?"
I'm not kidding, and I used to study at the Starbucks and sit on the patio, smoke cigarettes, and drink coffee, right, back in the day. And they apparently were training at the Gwinnett County Airport,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
right down the street, and that's where they were training to learn how to fly. And so the 2 guys, there was actually 3 guys, I don't remember who the 3rd one was, but they would just hang out there, they would talk in their language or whatever, and bum lighters and smoke cigarettes too. And then couple of days after 9/11, I popped in, and they don't have TVs at Starbucks, but they had a newspaper rack, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The barista was like, "Hey, Krish," because I literally, my apartment was right next door, and so I
Yeah.
used to always hang out there. She goes, "Did you see?" I was like, "No, what?" She goes, "Look at the front page, right? They had the pictures of the terrorist or whatever, and she goes, "Do you recognize him?" I was like, "No," because like you see people, even
Yeah,
if
but
you
you
see
see him
them
out of
like,
context. You're like,
yeah.
if
Now
you'd
I
have
can
saw him at
never get
Starbucks.
that face out. Like, there were like 3 blurry guys, and I was, there was an Asian table, there was a Muslim table, there was, people just hung out there, right?
Yeah.
And so you see them every day. I probably saw them almost every day for like 3 or 4 months. But
Yeah.
they didn't, I didn't have a conversation with them, so I didn't. But now I can look back at that time, and because I know the face from the
Yeah.
newspaper and just after that, they have faces. It's so weird. It's like creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I shared that on a podcast. I got some varying comments, but
Oh,
it's
can you
one of
please
those.
edit it out of this one?
It's the most famous
I'm
people
not
that you
trying to
don't
lose
wanna
my
meet, right?
TSA pre, bro.
Yeah, it's like what if you, like, were at a, I don't know, a Wendy's with Charles Manson? Like, you wouldn't, but it's like, "Oh, but you were on at," anyway, it's a whole thing. But we digress. I did want to talk about, because again, you do travel a lot, you have a
Yep.
family, you have 2 boys?
Yep.
Yep. And it's hard, right? I did a lot of traveling last couple of years, last 10, 15 years, a lot of it. And, but from the outside, right? People see your performances, see your stages,
Yeah.
see the travel, and we know that you take care of yourself, but they don't always see the human side of that lifestyle that you have, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a balance that you have to do, and you have to stay grounded through all of it. Um, what role do family and personal time play in keeping you centered? Because one thing I know about successful people, Ravi, right? Glenn, you, uh, people that are successful are very protective of that time. So why don't you share some of your secrets?
Well, you know what? I think like the moment you become a dad, you have a purpose,
Hmm.
right? And then you're
Hmm.
like, oh, wow, I'm responsible for this beautiful human and the mom and everything, right? So then like all of a sudden you kick into like the superhero mode of yourself. And I remember like the first 7 years, maybe I missed Father's Day because I could play. I was working at town a lot in Vegas, so like they would just like whatever. It just took every gig I could get. So you're doing everything you can to provide and you're grinding. And then, you hopefully build to a place where you're like, you can actually take some time. And then when you do take a vacation, I remember a lot of those gigs I would do, like if there was a good one, like in Hawaii or in the Bahamas at Atlantis or something like that, I would bring the whole family and we'd just like, we could bookend a day at the beginning, at the end, and then I already had the room. So it was halfway paid for. So we would just kind of like get it in
Yeah.
however we could. And then we get a couple of days here, a couple of days there and try and get that time in. But now, like today, my son, I was going to go to yoga, and then my son was like, "Dad, let's take the dog for a walk." And he's 12 now. Yeah, he's going to be 13 in July, and then like, oh, it's just horrible when they turn 13. It is the worst shit on the planet. There's nothing worse. So they say a young boy's brain when he turns 13 is the exact same chemical makeup of a bipolar schizophrenic adult.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. I've got,
Yeah, because
yeah.
they're going through puberty
Mm,
and still little kids, right? So they're 2 separate
yeah.
things happening because half the time they're sweet, nice, and snuggly and daddy, and then the next time they're just these raging teenage assholes. Like, look at God, my poor parents, they had to listen. They came from India listening to Black Sabbath and Ozzy, like full deafening volume, shaking the house. I think the only reason they tolerated it was they knew we weren't like out in the streets, so they knew at
Yeah,
least where we were.
exactly.
I mean, or I don't know, maybe they just had no choice. They were just like, whatever. I mean, I made so much noise that they could sleep through like 110 dB drum solos for 10 hours a day. But yeah, no. So yeah, you just try and get in. So like today, I'm like, you know what? He still wants me to hang out because now he's like, we go to Tustin Marketplace and he wants to go there with his friends with the skateboard and go around. And they went to In and Out, they're
Mhm.
hanging with the dudes. And they linked up with their other friends. You know what I mean? They're turning into that instead of just like us in the controlled environment. So that's all starting. And like the day's gonna end like by the end of summer, he'll be a teenager and that's it. It's a
That's
wrap
it.
for me.
Well, I've
Getting
still
closer.
got 5 years. My son turns 8 this summer, so I still got 5 years for that. But now I will be in the back of my head what you just said, and I will be kind of looking for it.
I'm telling you right now, man, do everything you can to take as much time as you can, right? So, like, if you need to go work 20 hours a day for 4 days, go do it and then sleep a half day and then get a day away, right?
Undivided
One guy on a
attention.
plane gets so crazy. Like, when you're talking to people on planes, you get like the best advice. One guy told me, he goes, man, you seem like a great guy and a great adventure, a great dad, and all this other stuff. We're talking on the flight. He goes, check this out. You can always have an adventure and you don't have to go and spend a penny. You'll have
Mhm.
more fun just going. And it doesn't have to be a whole day. You don't have to make it a big deal. It's not a big production. But if you can get 3 hours and you just go off grid, it could be riding a bike at the beach. It could be just going on a trail and having an adventure, building a fort, whatever it is. But just do as much of that as you can, because when you're older, that'll be the only thing you care about. And
Yeah,
it's
you'll
so
be
that,
actually asking them to play, right? You'll be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
no, my 21-year-old, I'm like, hey man, come with us, please, come on, I'll take you to wherever you want to go.
that's awesome.
That,
Well,
yeah,
since this is a very first interview type of guest thing that we've done here, and hopefully we can do a follow up at some point in person. I'll fly out to LA. We'll rent a
yeah,
studio. We'll do this in person. But you've been a big
we'll do it up at
supporter.
Glenn's house.
Yeah, we'll knock on
Well,
his door. Like, hey, bro,
well,
like,
hey, Glenn, we're
yeah,
here. Can we go
yeah,
quick?
why not? Um,
You got enough
but
square footage. You won't see us.
yeah, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so this is the first time we've done this. You've been a great supporter. I love your
Wait,
music.
hold on, really quick.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on. I don't think everyone knows this. So you just started this, and you're ranked like what is the ranking of this? You're like in the top 100. You're
Yeah,
telling me
I top 1% of new podcasts in the
that's
last year. Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank
Top
you.
1% of new podcasts.
On
Everybody,
YouTube, on YouTube. I'm still trying to play the number game on all the other platforms,
yeah,
but
but YouTube's the main one.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I think that my goal was by my birthday, which is April 2nd, is to hit 1 million streams on YouTube. And I think we
wow,
might do that this week,
within a
uh,
year.
within 6 months.
Oh my God,
Yeah, yeah. So
dude,
we
that
started
is
this on
huge.
September 23rd. It was and it wasn't because of Charlie Kirk getting shot, but I think I've shared this story is because after Charlie Kirk passed away or was or whatever assassinated, um, I heard a stat out there that they're like, oh man, the kids are gonna miss their dad, right? And I'm not a morbid person, right? Like I don't think about death. It comes, we'll all die someday, but someone said, yeah, but there's 10,000 hours of Charlie Kirk speaking, whether it's on college campuses and podcasts and whatever. It's like that those kids can always go back and listen to who his dad was or who their dad was. And I was like, man, what a cool way. Like one thing I did, again, I did an episode about this is I've written a letter, handwritten letter to each one of my kids until they're 99 years old. And I put it in the safe.
Oh, no way. You've
Yeah.
already done that?
I've already done that, right? 99 years, well, they're 3 and 7, but they'll open it up on their birthday every year, and it's stories about me, about my life, or stories about my father, my parents that they would never know if I wasn't around, right? So passing on that legacy, and it's kind of like in those old towns in India and actually Europe, all over the world. That's how stories. You look at the Bible, Bhagavad Gita, all of these
Yeah.
books, right? That's how the knowledge was handed down. It was my perspective on life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did. And so it's just how the podcast is just part of that story for me. It's not me trying to conquer the world. Maybe we will together, right? Well,
Yeah.
maybe I can ask Ravi to do an intro
I'll
song
play
for
the
the
party when you
podcast.
conquer the world.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what this podcast is really generally about. It's like giving away everything that's on my heart and my brain because I can't take it with me. Just like
You
you
know what?
can't take materialistic things with me.
You know what? That is the best thing. And you know what? So I've made little music videos with the kids at different stages, right? Like we did this Christmas video for SodaStream, and we did this thing at the Irvine Spectrum, and we turned all the Soda Streams into instruments, and we played dun 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 on
Nice.
tuned glasses, and did this whole thing. And Jag was like 2 with his little long hair and his diapers, and his brother was just a little small little guy, and they're friends, they're jumping around. We had all the Christmas clothes on and ugly sweaters. And every year that video comes up, it fills me with so much joy. You should do a podcast with your kids once a month. And just even if it's just for you guys, right? Just like find out what they're into, and they can tell you. Or you know what? You tell them, hey, look, at the end of the month, we're doing your podcast. So you need to like come up with your topics and have them come up with like I made a red fire engine, I built a fort, I won the Cub Scouts, whatever's so important. And it's just so wonderful when you can just meet them where they are. Like today, when my son was like, come on, Dad. I'm like, well, let me do this workout. I'm like, now, you know what? I'll put the suit on. I'll wear it out. Oh, Dad, you're embarrassing me. I'm like, okay, I'll put a shirt over the top of it. And then we went and we did 3 miles with the dog, and I got the e-suit on, and it was just the best day ever. And he's like, see, we need to get out of nature. We need to get away from the phones. He's saying everything I always say to him, like, I'm like, thank you for dragging me here.
Wise beyond his years. Look, your story is powerful, right? It's not just about success, it's about talent. Sorry, it's a reminder that success isn't just about talent, right? It's about family, it's about balance, it's about health, it's about everything, honoring the people that you meet, right? And
And it is an
respecting.
unwavering amount of psychotic level faith in yourself when the world is just chopping you down. Because it has been, man. I was like emotional and feeling weak, and how can I not have this? And I kept pushing through, and I wouldn't let go, and I put time in, and I asked other people, like, I asked everybody. I asked the producer of the Oscars if he knew who was doing this gig, and he's like, I know who's doing this part of it and that part of it. And I'm like, yeah, I already know that part, but I'm looking for the other part. So like, yeah, it's just it's perseverance. It's 5% talent or less.
It's
Talent is it's such a small part of
But,
it.
you have a voice, right? You have maybe you'll start singing one day, but what I mean by that is you have an audience. Okay. And one of my favorite things about you, Ravi, is that it's not just, again, your talents and your music and chasing the dreams and leading your family and all of those things. One of my favorite things, and again, this is not scripted, right? Is it scripted, Ravi? No, it's not,
No.
right? When the Malibu fires happened, right?
Oh yeah.
Last year, or in Palisades, and that whole mess
That
back
was
in
so
January of 20,
heartbreaking.
was that 24?
That
25.
was
January
last
25.
year. That was
And
25,
you
man.
you used your audience, your voice, as an opportunity to get out there and spread the message and help, right? You were out there on the front lines.
Well,
I
we
think,
attempted to help. We wrote a song, and we tried to do a couple little things.
but you can only do what you can do. But
we can
that
only do what we could do.
you and I talk about, separately about, the world and the politics, and we've had conversations and things like that. And what I love about you is you have just a very neutral, balanced perspective on things and on life. And at the end of the day, like, no one understands the beat, that's a pun intended, than Robbie, right? And you've had friends that passed away in the last year, and I've
Oh
seen
yeah.
posts about that and helping families in need. And I mean, it's our responsibility to
Yeah, it
step
is.
up.
It is.
And I can truly appreciate that about you. And you didn't know that I was going to say that, did you?
Oh no, I forgot about that.
No.
It was you know what? I drove through Malibu the other day, and I saw all those homes just burned, just lot after lot after lot. And I just like, it was gut wrenching because it is so impossibly expensive in California, right?
Mhm.
And I live out here in the suburbs in Orange County, let alone if you could get to the point where you had a place on the water in Malibu. And these were all older homes, and these were older people that were handing them down, right?
Mhm.
Because not you never really saw too many for sale signs there. In the Hollywood Hills, every other thing was for sale. Somebody got a show, had a hit record, all of a sudden it flopped, da da da, they got to sell it all day long through there. But out there, you'd never see any for sale signs because they were like, this is a piece of history. We're going to give it to our kids, and they're going to give it to the grandkids, and just all of it gone. Like, and I can't even like it's fixable, right? Because they all lost their insurance. They all just got screwed so hard. And you think of Grant Cardone, right? And he's $60 million house. And they were like, you have to knock it down because it doesn't go 6 feet to the thing. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's a $60 million house. The only one that didn't burn because whatever, it was newer. And like they're just doing anything they can to beat everybody up and like create, LA 2.0. It's sad and horrific. Like these people spent their lives, multiple generations. Because if you get a house on the beach, you don't get rid of it in California. You pass it
I mean,
down.
the same thing happened in Maui, I think, right? Was it Maui?
Oh
Or
God.
yeah, it was, and yeah,
And then BlackRock came in and took everything, and just bought everybody out. And BlackRock
although
bought out
Mark
the whole.
Zuckerberg, I think it was in Kauai or Maui, I can't remember which.
No, he's building a massive thing in Kauai.
Yeah, did you see the video on that, Lou? He's got like this 5,000 square foot bunker.
Yeah. He's ready.
He knows something's happening.
Dude, you know what? Like guys like that, they just know things. You know what I mean? And like he's just prepping for the day. But at the same time, he's like, hey, we have cows and we have a farm and I have the kids work out there so they know what's going on. And I don't know.
Mark Zuckerberg, if you've ever seen the interview with Theo Vaughn and Mark Zuckerberg,
I haven't seen that. I'll watch it.
Possibly the funniest, and Theo is funny. And
Theo's hilarious.
He's got a new movie out actually, Bus Boys, with David Spade. That's coming out in a couple of weeks. But yeah, check that episode out. I shouldn't be plugging other people's podcasts, but it's Theo Vaughn, and I don't know him, and I would love to know him because he's awesome. I think he's hilarious.
He seems so cool.
He's a cool dude.
He just seems like he'd be exactly that. Like one thing I found, like every actor that I've ever met in LA, right? Like, I mean, 99% of them, right? They're not acting. They're just being them on camera. Right. And then I'm sure you get into the finer actors that can change who they are.
Sure.
Right? You know what I mean? You get those supreme chameleons, like a Brad Pitt who like turns into the guy in Snatch, and then he's River Runs Through It, and then he's, the Brad Pittiest of, in the world on the racing movie. You know what I mean? Like he's all those things, but like he really changes, and Johnny Depp transforms. But those are rare, right?
Well, but you've met a lot of people, right? And I have a list of 3 actors that I would love to just hang out with at some point.
Who would they be?
And one of them, of course, is Theo Vaughn, but he's not an actor. I guess he's an actor now, right? But Edward Norton, and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I've hung out with Keanu a bunch of times.
Have you? Like, he seems like such a cool, down to earth dude, and all you have to do to meet him is just ride the New York City subway. Apparently,
yeah, no. Or like he goes to this. God, what was a breakfast spot right on Melrose? He would be there all the time. I'd see him. He'd just be on his motorcycle doing his thing. And he was just like, but he was super cool. Like I did the Matrix Part 2. And, in the scene where Morpheus goes, Zion, we are not afraid. He points to me and I kick off that giant rave in Zion.
Oh, that's no way.
Yeah, he points to me. And so I knew Keanu then and his band Dogstar and Brett. And the drummer, God, I forgot the drummer's name right now. Brett was the bass player singer in it. Guitar player singer in it. And Keanu was the bass player. And Rob was the drummer. So I knew Rob and Brett and, Keanu in passing. But my friend Sal Jenko was best friends with Johnny. They moved from Florida together to LA. And then Sal ran the Viper Room, and I lived 200 feet from the Viper Room. So like Sal would come take breaks from the Viper Room in my living room, literally. And if I ever needed toilet paper or the fax machine or anything, I would just go to the Viper
machine. Now you're telling your age.
I know, right? How old I am? Like 2001, we lived right there. But it was rad. I had a little Jim Morrison like bungalow. We call it Jim Morrison bungalow because he used to party in those bungalows because the Viper Room used to be some other nightclub and he used to just rage in these. So it's just like all those crazy Hollywood stories. And if you saw it, so I had a little yard and I was like literally 70 feet off of Sunset. right behind
Oh,
Tower
wow.
Video. Like it was right there. It was such a fun time. I would just walk and play at the Viper Room. Like they would call me all the time. Like, hey man, we don't have a band at Friday at 8:30. You got some particular little all-star band for us and do this kind of music. We want a funk band for this. Okay, yeah. I got you. You
Like,
know, and
Ravi, if you wrote a book, I would read it for
yeah, I
sure.
know. I need to put
If
that.
you
Yep.
if you had a documentary, I'd watch it. What an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time. I think we run out of time today, but we're gonna have to do a part 2 for sure,
Yeah, let's do it.
1000% in person. For everyone that's watching, if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify,
Top
anywhere that you
1%, dude. He's
stream.
killing the
Yeah,
game.
let's go. And then I want you guys to go out, follow Ravi on Instagram, on TikTok, I mean, on Facebook. I mean, he's everywhere you are. So I'll include all the links in the description here. But and again, Ravi, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's
Man,
late there, it's late here, and we just wanted to get this done, episode 100.
oh, dude, I cannot believe you've grinded so hard. You've done 100 episodes this fast, and you're in the top 1%. Man, that is so hard. What an accomplishment. I mean,
Thank you,
that
thank
just
you.
shows like right where you're going. Man, you know what I
Let's
mean?
do this. Let's do this, and maybe we can trick you into doing some intro music for the show
You
when
know
we
what? You
get.
need a theme song.
Yeah, we need a theme song.
You need a theme song.
I'll put some thought into it. Probably put some lyrics into Chat GPT and some ideas
Maybe
and
not. You may
go
not
out.
even need lyrics, but you need a like a 30-second, a 15-second, a 5-second little bumpers. You
We
know what
should
I
go
mean?
from some rap, some country music, and some Bollywood.
Country Bolly
Well,
rap. All right,
dude,
got it.
Bolly rap, dude.
Bolly rap.
Yeah, everyone
Country
will
fried Bolly
like.
rap. So
No, we
next
should.
episode will be country fried Bolly rap.
But bro, country. You could do Bolly country.
Yeah.
Right? Because, Beyonce's doing
Country.
country now and Shabuzi and all these guys. I mean, why couldn't we need an Indian country musician. I'm a big country music. I don't know if you
Oh,
knew that.
nice.
Weird. I know.
Cowboys and Indians.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been a blessing to have you on, and I'm about to go to bed.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Congratulations, man. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Cheers. Amen.